Azoria's CEO is James Fishback, and he joins me now. James, is AI draining the economy of entry-level jobs?
Good morning, Stuart. No, it is not. The AI that is threatening American workers today is not the AI that stands for artificial intelligence, but the AI that stands for arrogant immigration. The arrogance of Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft to announce that they're cutting American jobs, but they're going to still keep H-1Bs on the payroll. And the arrogance of Republicans and Democrats in the U.S. Congress who won't end the H-1B program that continues to import foreign workers from India and China and fire Americans and force those now fired Americans to train their replacements. It's unacceptable. But I'm glad that Governor Ron DeSantis here in Florida did the right thing. He pulled the plug yesterday, Stuart, on our colleges and universities firing Americans and hiring foreigners. He is creating a blueprint for the rest of the country to protect the wages and dignity of American workers.
How would you describe the U.S. job market at the moment? I've heard some people describe it as no hire, more fire. Is that how it is?
That is one way to put it. I think actually the dichotomy is probably something closer, Stuart, to hire foreign, fire American. That's the dichotomy, is that Amazon and Microsoft and Meta and Google and all of those companies, they are not saying that they're going to protect the American workers. No, what they're saying is that they're going to let go of the Americans and still keep the foreigners, the H-1Bs, the OPTs, they're going to keep them on the payroll. This is a K-shaped recovery where Americans are getting the shorter end of the stick and foreigners get to keep their jobs. That is not what our founding fathers imagined when they set this bold experiment into motion 250 years ago.
Maybe foreigners are good at their jobs. You ever thought of that one?
Well, look, the truth of the matter is, Stuart, that CEOs complain that skilled workers, they cannot find them in America. But the truth of the matter is, with the H-1B program, they're not even forced to interview an American, not even to post the job publicly to Americans. So how can you say that Americans aren't skilled if you have the unmitigated gall, the unfettered intrepidity, and the unencumbered audacity to not even interview a single American worker? Stuart, this is personal for me. My mom was let go in 2021 from her job in Florida and then replaced by an H-1B just weeks later. And so, no, I reject the slanderous lie that CEOs and the Chamber of Commerce puts out that Americans are unskilled. Americans are the brightest, hardest working, most brilliant people in this world, and we cannot apologize for that.
Okay, let's see if you're fired up about this one. Fed Chair Powell says a rate cut in December is not a foregone conclusion. I bet you don't like that, do you?
No, I don't, Stuart. And the reason why is Jerome Powell doesn't want to guarantee a rate cut, which is to say lower mortgage cost, lower credit card carrying cost for Americans. But he had no problem guaranteeing a rate cut in an attempt to rig the election to benefit Kamala Harris in September 2024. Let's not forget, Stuart, that's when Jerome Powell cut by 50 points, the largest rate cut in 4.5 years at the time, with no basis in economic fundamentals. So it's a sad reality that today President Trump has largely defeated inflation, getting it on a CPI basis since the president took office to 1.9%. Stuart, as you and your guests know, that is not at the Fed's target. That's below the Fed's target. Why on earth, then, are his interest rates near 20-year highs? There's one reason and one reason alone. He does not want to help President Trump. He does not want to help the golden age, and he is hurting Americans with his stubborn recalcitrance.
Are you holding on to the idea that we have a golden age coming next year for the economy? 4% growth, tax cuts, regulatory reform, that kind of thing. Are we going to get 4% growth next year, do you think?
Yes, we are. Secretary Besson and President Trump and Director Pulte and the entire cabinet is delivering on President Trump's golden age. But Stuart, let's not lose sight of how we measure the golden age. It's not just GDP. It's not just the stock market. The number one indicator I'm going to look at is the number of 30-year-old men who are married and owned their home. When my dad was growing up in the 1960s, that was half of 30-year-old men were married and owned their home. Today, Stuart, it's just 15%. If you can't own the dirt under your feet, if you can't marry the woman of your dreams and put a couple branches on that family tree, you do not have a golden age. And so, yes, there needs to be a golden age for America, but a golden age for Americans. We cannot have a jobless recovery. We cannot have jobless economic growth. And I know that President Trump is going to ensure that that's the case.
It's only a matter of time before you run for office. I can see it coming a mile off. James Fishback, though, you are all right. And thanks for being on the show today. Appreciate it. Good man.
Thank you, Stuart.